episode of Falling Upwards, the show where you hear about the amazing journeys and spectacular failures from some of our lovely guests, and where we share with you the news in the world that you want, not need, but want to know. I'm Emma here, as always, with my fantastic co-host, Maddie Armstrong. See, I mentioned my name in the intro, Maddie.
You got a name.
Every episode, either I can see in Maddie's eyes that she's like, Emma did not say her name. Her name could be anything. Or she's like, I will have to say her name because she has not said her name.
She is just this presence on the podcast, this nameless presence.
I could have a different name every single episode.
We're Maddie and Emma. Or Emma and Maddie. I haven't decided which is better yet.
What we could be either Maddie or Mad. It's very cloudy here in the UK at the moment after the heat wave. Last episode, if you were listening last episode, we had a massive heat wave. Yeah, now thunder and lightning and rain and grey.
You're getting thunder and lightning. Exciting.
Yes, oh my God. We had like a deluge yesterday, just an absolute deluge.
That
Maddie likes rain, for some of you who may be a new listener. She's a big rain fan.
I mean, the sound of it is fantastic, isn't it?
That's true. Very true.
I love a good gush, you know?
But somebody we have on the lawn today is bringing the sunshine. If you miss the sunshine, this lovely artist music is here to usher it back into your life. Let me do the little intro, and then she's got a fantastic failure for Maddie to adjudicate. We have on the lawn today an artist whose music sits at the crossroads of country, Americana, and soul, weaving together deeply personal storytelling with a voice that feels both timeless and unmistakably her own. Her songs balance tender memories with deep emotion, turning life's hardest transitions into something beautiful, funny, and human. Over the last few years, she's built a reputation as one of the most compelling emerging voices in the genre, earning praise for her lyrical depth and shimmering sound. She has captivated audiences across the US and recently made her UK debut supporting Colin Blunstone on tour. Her recent releases, including her newest acclaimed album, Speed of Sound, is the perfect release for a balmy, relaxing summer. And now with her newest single, Woke Up in LA, she presents a tender reflection on loneliness, resilience, and finding home. We are absolutely delighted to have her with us today. Please welcome the wonderful Jesse Lynn Madera. Woo! Yay! I had the chance to chat with her when she touched down in London, and I am excited to say she has a whole host of things to talk to us about, including a failure for our queen of failures, Maddie Armstrong, the arbiter of the failure lawn.
Very exciting.
Okay, are you ready to give it a listen?
Yes, please.
My album. Okay. Listen, I don't consider it a failure.
Okay.
I do wish that I would have had more help from people who knew what they were doing, because when I recorded Speed of Sound, I started out from the get-go with great producers. You know, I appreciate all the help I got on Fortunes. I appreciate the musicians that I had and everything. But I think if I would have been in a different situation with help from people who knew what they were doing, I would have avoided a lot of stress on that album. But at the same time, the reason it's my favorite is because I learned so much. I learned who I want to work with. Mm-hmm. That alone is so important. I made a list after that, and I some people do this when they're trying to call in love. They make a list of all the things that they want in their partner. Mm-hmm. And I did it for career. I guess it's called the siren method. Mm-hmm. And I said, I want, this and this and this. And I made a list thinking of all my favorite people that I had worked with, what I liked about them. And this is all I want. And I'd light a candle every night, read the list out loud. And it's really, it actually did help. I love the people that I get to. I have a wonderful team. I play with incredible musicians, and so
that's great.
So for first-time listeners, our Queen Arbiter of the Lawn, Maddie Armstrong, has arbitered failures for the entire duration of the podcast. She judges whether they are great failures or just
And this
what is
started
going
off organically, didn't it? In the beginning of this, I used to complain that whether a failure was a true fail or not, or if it was just
Yes.
a sneaky skip over the question, you know?
Mm.
I'm very strict with my standards of the failures, so
Maddie does judge them as woo as in just a great failure, no because it's a failure of a failure, and a mid if it's a mid failure. So what do you think, Maddie, about Jesse Lynn's failure album?
I love having not like a blacklist, but like a checklist of what you need in people to work with. You only really get to that point when you have dealt with a lot of nonsense in your life. And I respect it. I do respect it. I love working with MA, my co-host.
Oh, mate.
Fabulous person to work with. So if I were to do a checklist, it would be everything about MA. Sneaky little cheese in there.
What you and I both talk about a lot, and what people who maybe aren't in the industry a lot might not, maybe you do get this from non-entertainment-y jobs as well, but especially in this industry, you really do live and die by the people that you work with. Like, it doesn't matter how big a name is, how famous a name is, if they're a nightmare to work with, or if you don't meld, like, no amount of money or clout that you throw at something is gonna make it stick. Like, nobody in this industry can do it purely on their own, and I love that her failure reflects on that.
Definitely. I think just while we're here, it's made me think of things that are on my own little mental checklist that I've never thought about in the way that Jesse has, but I do have one. I think we all have one. Communication is a big one. And understanding is another one. If you don't have any empathy for people that have illnesses, whether visible or invisible, then you shouldn't be in a leadership role, I think. Yeah, those are two of mine. Do you have any?
Yeah. I mean, you and I, we both very much communicate on the same wavelength, which I appreciate.
Yeah,
not
that
to
does make
add
things
to
easy.
the cheese, but like sometimes when I'm not having a good week, I'm like, oh, well, I get to chat to Maddie for a week. And obviously, you know, we're chatting to all of you listeners as well. And we chat to our lovely guests, and it's lovely sharing what our guests are saying. But also the nice thing is that, well, I know no matter what, I'm going to have a nice chat with Maddie this week. And we're both on the same page. Even when we disagree, we always find a way to end up on the same page. And I think that adds to what you were saying about, like, with illnesses and stuff, safety as well, right?
Yeah.
What is safe to one person? I mean, there are certain things that I think should be safe to everybody, but what's safe to one person might not feel safe to another person. Again, especially in this industry where things can be very hectic and all over the place. Whoever you're collaborating with, you want to know that however we're communicating and however they need to do things and however I need to do things, we're always doing it in a way where we're rooting for each other and we want each other to feel positive and feel safe, and for there to just be good, like good vibes. Good vibes is such a big thing. I know it sounds so cheesy, but like good vibes can buoy even the worst project or a project that feels a bit crap.
There are people that look for problems, that look for the bad in others. And then there are people that want to make things work. I mean, if something can't work, then it can't work. But those sorts of people that really try and have empathy and stick things together and communicate properly, they're the glue of a good workspace, aren't they? I think this is a win. I think it's a good thing to keep yourself safe and to keep other people safe and comfortable, to have like a mental list of requirements. You know, if I'm with people like this, it's not a good place for me. I need to get out.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so we love your failure, Jesse Lynn. This is a woo from Maddie. She actually found a failure. I was talking to a mate that listens to the pod the other day, and I was like, sometimes, as Maddie says, they skip over the question. Of course, Jesse Lynn continues to chat to us about her music. Let's give it a listen. It's a pleasure to chat to you today.
Likewise, thank you. Oh, thank you. Thank you.
That's right. Listen, you've been busy today.
Yeah.
So it's all right. What does it mean for you, all the way from the States, to be here in London today?
Well, it's a thrill, and this is just this is an incredible way to start off this tour that we're about to embark on. I'm honored to be able to open up for an icon, certainly one of the greatest, if not the greatest voices in my lifetime, Colin Blunstone. So I'm thrilled to be here.
Yeah. For people that haven't listened to your music before, Woke Up to LA might be, the first introduction to Jesse Lynn.
Yeah.
How would you describe that song in your own words for them?
I would say that that comes from a really important part of my roots. I was born in Parkersburg, West Virginia, which is a little like factory town. It wasn't even on the map when I was born. So I think that sort of sound that I sometimes drop into, the kind of, it's nearly kind of a bluegrass sound, that just is deep from my soul. And then I have other parts of my soul too, these big dramatic numbers that I also like to play. But Woke Up in LA is certainly comes from a very true place in my heart.
That's lovely.
What do you think, man? I know you love deep storytelling in songs. If anyone wants to hear a deep dive into a lyric, Maddie Armstrong is the person who can do a deep dive into a lyric, if ever.
That's very kind of you. Do you have a particular favorite lyric of her music?
So when I was chatting to her, and I do chat about this later, there is a particular lyric that I like that I will leave it to when we give it a listen. But what happened was she performed afterwards, and because her team had all listened to me chat to her, when she sang that lyric, everyone was like, oh, she's singing your lyric. They were like excited because she was singing the lyric that I'd mentioned, and it was like a little moment, and it was lovely. And I too, like you, like heartfelt lyrics, so there's something special about that, and I will tease that for later.
Okay.
Up until then, though, for first-time listeners, I also bring news as the Jester of the Lawn to our Queen Emperor for her and for you, listeners, to adjudicate, are these news pieces fails or mids or actually just great? And often I do try and tie them in to the guests that we have. My confession this week is they're not very tied in. Sometimes I just pick them going... sometimes I just pick them going, you know what, I think it'll make Maddie laugh this week, so let's just go with that. And that's what most of these selections are this week. Let's kick off with my first contribution to the lawn, which is from the Huffington Post. An Australian farmer discovers live frog in grocery store salad bag. This was from Melbourne, Australia, when Australian farmer Reese Smoker, amazing name, Reese Smoker, oh my god, that's like a superhero name, what? Announced he'd found a live frog in a bag of lettuce. His housemates didn't believe him. Smoker had been preparing a steak and salad dinner on Saturday for the 3 people who share his house in Esperance in Western Australia state when he spotted the frog, why did he say frog? When he spotted the frag, among the leaves inside the sealed plastic bag he'd bought from a supermarket. His housemate Laura Jones said, he was like, oh bro, there's a frog in the lettuce. And we're like, no, you're taking the mick. That's not real. However, it was true. There was a little frog hiding out. They named the frog Greg and then released it at a pond near the house. Adjudication, please, Queen Emperor.
I am glad the frog is alive and well. I'm glad Greg, he got out safely, He was still alive for them to free him. So I think that part of it is a win, but the part where the frog got trapped in there in the first place is a bit terrifying, because it wouldn't have been such a happy story if the frog was not live.
Like suffocated. I was like, what? That
Yeah.
frog's been in that bag for potentially days, right?
Well, they always have holes, like small holes in bags of like vegetables, don't they? Because it's got to have
For the
some
frogs.
oxygen to it. Oh,
Yeah,
no, it's for the frogs only.
For the frogs. The frogs.
Frog air holes. So yeah, I think I don't know if I want to call it a no, because the frog did get out. This
Right.
story specifically, I think, has to be a mid.
Okay. Because bad that the frog got sealed, but good that the frog got out. Are we going for that?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
the thought that there are animals that could get, in these factories and maybe trapped in like the packaging and potentially harmed is a huge no. But Greg's incredible tale of escaping his capture, that's a win. So we've got to average it out and come to a mid.
Okay, let's go.
I should find power, Dad!
That's what Greg said as he splashed into the pond.
I don't know why I find that so funny. I'm sorry. Onwards with Jesse Lynn. What's so beautiful and fascinating about that single is when I compare it to Fortunes, like all the way back in 2020, that record is so, with the piano instrumentation, it's so expansive.
Yeah.
And yet the bluegrass element that you mentioned, it's so heartfelt. Yeah. When you listen to this song now and compare it to your early 2020 work, how do you see yourself having changed and grown?
Well, I always joke that Fortunes could be called Fortunes because it cost me so much money to make, because I didn't know what I was doing. I was attempting to produce myself, and I wound up having another producer come in, but I made a lot of production mistakes. So it was like a trial by fire. I like what came out of it. But I do feel like it was an ambitious project. I still, stand by the songs that I put on there. But it took a really long time to make. And then compare that to like Woke Up in LA, or like the single I put out a cover of John Prine's Speed of the Sound of Loneliness it debuted at number 3 on the folk chart. And I went, wait a second, I'm spending all this time on, because these songs, they took a day to record. Right. They're just so honest and present. Like really, we recorded each one of those were recorded in an afternoon, practically, not even a full studio day, if I remember correctly. So
something I love about what, like, all the different people we get to chat to is hearing how different their musical processes are.
Yeah. We've had projects that were worked on for months and months, and projects that take a surprisingly small amount of time because everything falls into place at once.
It's beautiful. Something else that has fallen into place.
Oh, we are trying to connect it.
This I did manage. This segue is US midfielder gets 1 day leave from World Cup training for his own wedding. American midfielder Brendan Aronson has a good excuse to miss the US World Cup team's training session Friday. This is from the Associated Press, Ronald Bloom. He's getting married, not Ronald Bloom. Brendan Aronson is getting married. I really went round the houses with that. The Leeds midfielder was marrying longtime girlfriend Milana Dambra, a daughter of St. Joseph's men's soccer coach Don Dambra. Unable to attend. This took me a while to digest. Obviously, other team members that would have liked to be there cannot be there because they are training. And therefore, they're going to see if they can FaceTime into their wedding so they can watch his wedding whilst also be at the training camp. And of course, good luck to the US men's soccer team and all the soccer teams playing in the World Cup this summer. Thoughts, please, Queen Arbiter. I will say it would have been a bit cruel if they didn't let him go to his own wedding.
What about the honeymoon? Does he have time off for that? Or is it just the one day and then back to work?
I feel like that's it, because it's the World Cup soon, isn't it? She's thinking it through.
I'm calculating.
See, one day is very different. For Jesse Lynn, that one day she's getting her songs out. For Brendan Aronson, that one day might be too short for the celebrations required.
I mean, goodness. You only got one day?
I mean, maybe they can honeymoon afterwards, after the World Cup.
Hopefully.
It'd be cruel if they couldn't.
I wonder how many days off he gets a year.
I mean, usually they'd get the off season, wouldn't
they?
So
they don't do anything during that.
Yeah, so you don't have to come back until like pre-season training. So usually he'd get that time off, but obviously World Cup. So the World Cup is in that period where they would have a bit more time.
Well, why are they getting married during the World Cup period? Why not?
I don't know.
Because don't they know when that period will be, like before it happens?
Yeah.
Isn't it the same every year?
So you're saying they should have waited an extra year for when he had a proper off season?
Well, yeah, I think he should have booked it at a proper time so he can spend time with his new spouse and have a honeymoon.
Mm-hmm.
And not be distracted, because you're in the World Cup, so your thoughts are consumed by that,
right?
Like at your wedding,
right?
In
to be
portion
fair,
of your mind is being taken up by the stress of what's going on.
That's true, but to be fair, maybe he and his wife booked that period just because it's not a guarantee unless you're the best player in the world, and even then you might get injured. Maybe he and his spouse were like, you know what, it's not a guarantee that he's going to be called up to the World Cup squad. Let's just do what we want. Let's just book the wedding, and if it happens, it happens. Maybe that's just how the cookie crumbled.
I don't know. I feel like he brought this upon himself.
Oh no. Like if he hadn't been called up and he'd had the summer free, then his fiance, now wife, I don't know what actual day they got married, she would have been like, oh, we could have just got married. If you hadn't been called up, we could have just done it.
You can't base your decisions upon that, though. Sorry, Leeds midfielder. Now I'm wondering if I should be gracious and give him a mid, or give him a no. That would be appropriate right now.
But it's his wedding.
He's getting married. Okay, fine. You get a mid.
Mr. Five Power Dad!
Oh!
Ben!
You're on fire today, Matt. It's not that you're not always, but it's like another level. We're getting another level. But to break the chill, let's go back to Jesse Lynn. A lyric that I loved from the song was that one about the fish smiling up.
Oh, yeah.
And when I was listening to it honestly made me stop for a moment, because there's so much innocence and so much tenderness and sincerity in that lyric.
Thank you.
Could you break down why that lyric? What was in your mind when you were writing it?
I don't know. I maybe have sort of a whimsical or childlike imagination, and I was trying to portray how different, like grass is always greener, how different this concept, this somewhat imaginary idea of imaginary land of living in Montana. Imaginary, I don't know, it's almost cartoonish, really, isn't it? Or a storybook. That's kind of what I was going for, because I'd visited there a couple times before I wrote that song, and it was like idyllic. After living in LA, and I do love Los Angeles, by the way. A lot has changed since I wrote that song,
Right.
So I'm really happy there now, but I still do go to Montana, and I go, what if I lived here? Like, it would be so simple. And of course, there's always problems anywhere.
Of course.
But I do have that fantasy of just moving out to a place where everything is fresh and clean, and you can drink out of the water faucet, which we certainly can't do in LA unless we're really living on the edge. So
The grass is always greener.
Something that I did think at depth about, probably more than I should have done after chatting to her, is honestly the cleanliness of water in different places. Because you'd think in cities sometimes the sanitation might be better, but sometimes worse
No,
than
I
in
think it's
certain
the
places
opposite.
with water. My gosh. When she said, you know, you could drink out of clean water there, I like felt that in my bones, where it was like, you know, she's imagining these places where it's very untouchable, and not to over fantasize, but there's just a freshness and cleanliness to these places that she loves.
For me, I'll always be stuck to my hometown, my area, you know, in Yorkshire, that's far enough away from any city where it's just very green surrounding. You know, I always go on about the air, but the water's good too. The water's pretty nice. When I go down to London, if I'm there for too long, my hands will get really dry from the water. And yeah,
Really?
yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Up here, I don't really need to use hand cream, but in London, I have to because the peeling is terrible. That's if I'm there like more than one day. But usually I try and get home on the same day that I go down, so
Wow. I don't know why I'm so shocked by this.
well the
Oh my
water,
gosh.
I've got Yorkshire water up here, which is good water.
Right.
But in London it's harsher, isn't it?
See, I've been a southerner always, so I could not tell you the
Yeah.
difference.
I don't know about your area that you live, but it's definitely like in London, when I've stayed in London, that's when we've had
That's when it's been the worst.
effects. Yeah.
You know what I find so interesting is when friends or myself, where we've had like acne problems or any type of skin issue, whether that's like eczema or rosacea or whatever, sometimes when they are traveling in Asia, so whether because they have roots there, so they spend a lot of time there outside of England, their skin clears up. Their skin genuinely gets better. When I was younger and I had such bad acne and such bad eczema, and then I'd be in Southeast Asia and I'd be like, my skin doesn't hate itself. And then I come back here and I'm like, my skin hates itself. It's so interesting how the water and the environment actually just really changes your, not just your state of mind, like Jesse Lynn was talking about, but your actual body.
Yeah. Interestingly, when I was in Korea not long ago, my skin actually got a bit worse, but it wasn't because of the water, it was because of the air, because they have really dusty air, don't they? And it, you know, it's May, so it's getting close to summer when it gets worse. So I've still got things that are healing up since then. You know, I can have like weeks here in my town where my skin is clear, right? But in Korea, I had like multiple spots.
Would you wear a mask outside to help protect you against the dust, or would you just leave it?
No, I didn't wear any mask when I was there. Maybe I should have, but I didn't expect it until I saw the spots, and I worked out later the reason why I had so many spots over there. But at first I was like, why? I thought it was meant to be really clean here. And it is clean. But the air is dusty.
I don't have a segue to this news piece. I just don't. Man who practiced iron sand palm kung fu technique for 20 years has 3-inch thick palms. This is from Oddity Central by author Spooky. 53-year-old Zhang Longxiang, I think I'm saying that right, Zhang Longxiang, has been obsessed with Kung Fu ever since he was a young boy. But it was in 1998, after meeting a master of iron sand palm, he realized that was the technique he wanted to dedicate his life to. It is a famous method that involves you physically striking various abrasive mediums to dramatically increase bone density, tendon strength, pain tolerance, and striking power. A side effect over several years is a visible thickening of the palms. He's been doing this 2 to 3 hours every day for several decades. It caused his palms to thicken. He has calluses on the back of his hands, palms, and finger joints. His right palm is 8 centimeters thick. Most people, when their hands are pressed both together, are not even 8 centimeters thick. He participates in martial arts exhibitions worldwide, where he breaks stacks of bricks with his bare hands or pummels iron nails into wooden boards. He has won various national martial arts competitions and is now considered one of the greatest masters of iron sand palm.
Wow. He's got a hand cubed. That's how big it is. It's not squared, it's cubed. Goodness me. Well, I think win for him. Because he's clearly, he knew what he wanted. He wanted a thick, strong palms. He dedicated his life, and now he's all over the internet because, wow, those are thick hands. That is a thick hand.
I give you a quote. I had to hit the sandbag 6,000 times a day. 6,000 times a day. A day. He continues, I cannot count how many times my hands have been injured hitting a sandbag full of steel balls, but I never put my hands into a wok of hot sand because it is a fiction fabricated by some kung fu movies. I didn't even know people thought you could do putting your hand into a wok of hot sand, which is crazy. But yes, 6,000 times a day, sandbags containing small steel balls within.
6,000. I don't think I even have 6,000 thoughts a day. How does one do something 6,000 times in a day?
The strength of his hands, I can't even fathom that. Like, even seeing the picture, you still can't fathom the level of what?
I would love a handshake from him.
Would you, though?
I would love to know what
your
that
hand
would feel
might
like.
not be okay afterwards. He can hammer, as I said, he can hammer iron nails into wooden boards. He can break bricks with his bare hands. That is wow.
So you don't need a toolkit. You just need this guy.
No.
His hand is the tool.
Yeah, that is incredible.
Multi-purpose. Well, I think that's fantastic. Win all
right.
around.
Maddie has adjudicated. Blows my mind. And you know, something else that I know is going to blow my mind. See, I'm managing a segue. I'm sure Madness is going to blow my mind too. What we got, Maddie?
I've finally learned how to kind of do barista art. I can only do one thing, but I am good at it. Look at this. Look at this feather right here.
How long does that take to do? I have no frame of reference because I don't drink coffee.
A few seconds.
Okay.
So you spiral into the cup, and then about maybe 3/4 to the top. For me, I zigzag with the milk, and then do a line through, and that makes my feather that's now my signature. It's not the typical art. The typical one is the heart, which is actually easier, but for some reason I just can't do it that well. I find the feather much easier. But Maddie can do it. Maddie can do art now. It's only been 2 years.
Are you aiming to learn more? Are you aiming to add to your... Okay, that's it. The feather is where the latte art starts and ends.
Just if I can make a drink look pretty, then that's fine. So I've already achieved that.
What about, like, have you ever done that thing where people will put a stencil on top and then they'll like drizzle the powder? You can tell I don't drink coffee, right? You like sprinkle the powder and then you have the shape on the thing. Have you ever done that?
I've never used a stencil, no, but we do always put chocolate powder on cappuccinos. We just do a tasteful line on the side of the art.
A line?
Yeah, like a line on the edge.
Oh, okay.
Because
Nice.
I don't want it to cover my pretty feather I've just made.
Oh, okay. I feel the vision now. I see the vision.
Yeah.
Nice. Ching time, where for new listeners, we offer you things that we have been enjoying in the week, and so do our guests if they have one. Jessie Lynn doesn't have one for us this week, but boy, do Maddie and I have some for you this week. What have you got for the exchange this week? What would you like to recommend?
The European sleep schedule.
Huh?
Go have a nap at 3 p.m. Because I'm going to have one after this recording. So that's what I would like to exchange for our listeners.
Have you not been doing that before?
No, I have been.
Have you not tried it before? Right.
But I just really need one today.
Okay.
So now I'm bringing this blessing of sleep to our listeners. You all will have a really good nap when you need it. I mean, to be honest, I feel like as people from the UK, sometimes we're a bit separated from the Europe Club, even though we are European. So I would like to celebrate the European sleep schedule. Maybe that's a nap at noon, when the cafes close. Or maybe it's whatever you like. But it is this idea of prioritizing healthiness and not getting too crazy and too hectic, because we live in a warm little town of strong community and we sleep at whatever time we need to. It's real. People idealize it that aren't from Europe, but it is real. That is how the Europeans do be.
I will throw into the ring box the song Opalite by Taylor Swift, which has been getting me in a good place whenever I've been feeling down. I've really been trying to compile a list of songs that if I'm feeling a bit down and I feel like I don't really have my mojo on for the day, it can get me through the day and just help uplift me. And I'll be honest, as of today, I've listened to nothing but that song. And there's something very comforting about hearing somebody literally sing to you, "It's all right. You were dancing through the lightning strikes." And I was like, yes, I was. And it will be all right.
Aww.
And it's just a lovely, even if you're not a Taylor Swift fan or you wouldn't listen to her music, if you need a song that just makes you feel hopeful, it is a very good, hopeful, good vibes. Everything's going to be okay. Upbeat song. So I will contribute that.
Sorry, that was unnecessary. Yes, it is. It's going to be fine. I don't need to put any cynicism into it. Sorry. No thoughts.
But is it though?
How do we know?
That just flew out of left field, Maddie.
I'm sorry.
To be fair, you've dealt with a lot of difficult trains this week. I understand where the cynicism comes from.
Oh yeah, nothing makes me more miserable. Nothing makes me a miserable old geezer like the train system in this country. I said this in a message to UMA, and this was before the bulk of the disasters of the day, that I think no more than 1/5 of my train journeys are actually successful. But after the recent events, I would say it's even less than that. I think all of the last 10 train journeys I've had have been delayed by at least half an hour.
For people that aren't Brits, this country is just not well equipped for extreme weather on either ends of the spectrum. So the trains go down when it is snowing a lot, and the trains also go down when there's a heat wave. and on Monday, Maddie was on the brunt end of the trains not being happy because it was hot. Let's pick things up at the end of the episode with a little sign off. Jessie Lynn has a sign off for us, so let's let her kick things off.
Woo.
I'd say the world needs your authenticity. So whether you're an artist, whether you're a business person, although I do think that there's an art to being a business person, I think the world needs who you really are, and that's outside of competitiveness. That's outside of greed. I really believe that we can all find something that we like about each other, you know. So that's what I would say.
Thank you, Jessie Lynn.
Needed to hear that today. The world needs your authenticity. Beautiful.
That's very, very nice message.
What's your sign off, Mad?
Breathe, be calm, and if you feel like punching someone or yourself, don't.
Are you referring to the national rail system again?
Yeah. or any scenario that like applies, but this is what's in mind. I don't think there's any situation that's more stressful in the UK. Just breathe.
When you went into if you feel like punching someone, I went, yes, I know where this rage is coming from. I feel where this rage is coming from.
Sometimes I'm terrified that I'm gonna become like someone having an outburst in public, you know, like not actually being violent, but like just being upset.
I get what you mean.
And like it get filmed and get put on social media, like this crazy lady, and I'm like, I just had a terrible train journey, don't cancel me. This has not happened yet, but boy have I been close.
I will leave our listeners with, check your salad bags for frogs or other live creatures. Check your salad bags. Make sure there's not a frog in there.
You know, you almost went a bit northern when you said that. You're like, check your salad bags. You almost sounded. Am I rubbing off on you?
I don't know. Maybe. I'm going to be conscious of it now. But yeah, check your salad bags. Don't eat, you know, if there's a frog in there. I mean, I've never found a frog
you're
in
going
a salad bag, but you know. Am I?
A little bit, because you say you're, right?
Right.
But
I am more relaxed when I talk to you, to be fair. I've noticed this. My voice changes a lot depending on who I talk to. So that might be it. But yeah.
Check your salad bags. Sorry.
So as Maddie says, breathe deeply
don't punch
and calmly
anyone.
And don't punch anyone. And
don't
check your salad bags.
And set the frogs free. Yes.
Set the frogs free. Thank you so much to Jessie Lynn for joining us on the lawn. Her newest album, Speed of Sound, has been out for a while. You can give that a listen. And her newest single, Woke Up in LA, is a delight. Go and check that out. If you're missing the sun or at any time of the year, go check out her music. Thanks to her for joining us on the lawn. And thank you as always for Maddie for co-hosting with me, and for you, dear listeners, for giving us a listen. See you next time.
Bye.